Good morning, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Hey, did you see the 34th anniversary of Lake Placid Miracle on Ice is in the paper today, Steve?
I haven't got a chance to look at it yet, but what does it all say?
Covers some of the stories of the players, what they're doing now, and some shenanigans like that.
You remember those days, Jerry? The spring and the step of America and the sense of renewal.
Yeah, I remember the chanting USA in Lake Placid like it was yesterday. The great feeling of beating those damn communists.
The thing that bothers me is they don't talk about how it was such a great feeling after those damn communists were spreading their communist ways all across Europe, Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Some of those kids never really see the true spirit that was put into that game.
I know, some of the kids seen the movie and only the game, not the importance of what we saw in the game, the uplifting spirit to our hurt pride. The kids never see how we felt powerless on a world stage as our economy was at rock bottom. The way that we felt number 2 to those stupid Soviets.
Yeah, but the movie doesn't show more than the naked eye would have saw. I mean, you remember seeing Jim Craig and Mark Johnson during practice? It does show some of the hard work put into the championship.
Hey man, what's up?
Nothing much, dude. This Colorado weather's beautiful out
Oh
here.
yeah, man.
Hey boys, how's everyone doing?
Nothing much. I can't wait to play with you this season. It's gonna be a sick one.
Yeah, me too. Even though we lost in the national championship game to Minnesota this year, and by having some of those players on our team is going to be very hard for me to handle.
Yeah, well, we're gonna all have to overcome those challenges because all the other teams out there, they're gonna be at the top of their games, especially the Soviets. They haven't lost since the 1964 Olympic Games. Last year, they beat the NHL All-Stars, whooping them 6-0. It's definitely gonna be the toughest team we're gonna face.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, what's your name and where are you from?
Hi, I'm Mark Johnson. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. I play at the University of Madison, Wisconsin.
You better be ready to play some fast hockey. All those Soviet players are all professionals, and we aren't even out of college yet. They have to be at least 5 years older than us, and we have to find a way past them. They have a player named Sergei Makarov, who was a part of their team for the past 2 years and is basically unstoppable.
Well, if you score against one of their goalies, Vladis Tretiak, you better keep that puck because he's supposedly the best goalie in the whole entire world.
Greetings, gentlemen. My name is Herb Brooks, and you can call me Coach. I have coached for the University of Minnesota for the last 10 years. Practice starts tomorrow at 3 p.m. Tomorrow starts the day of many hard weeks of practice and trial camps. I will have to make multiple cuts before we have our final roster. I hope you boys are ready to skate your butts off, because we have a lot to improve on before we even think about going to Lake Placid.
Call me in, Coach. I didn't try out for this team to go to Lake Placid to get our butts handed to us by the Soviets. I'm going over there to take home for the gold.
You have an excellent attitude, son, but don't think I like you anymore because you said that. I want to see how hard you will skate tomorrow.
You got it, Coach. I'll see you tomorrow.
The rivalry between the U.S. and the Soviets all started because of the Cold War.
If you think about it, the game truly changed the sway of the war. The Cold War might still be looming in our presence without the game. Those weren't the best of times with the standoff between the large powers of the world.
When the Soviets were supplying the Cubans with nuclear weapons, I was so pissed off at the Soviets, and then our genius idea of the Star Wars plan.
Yeah, those were some scary times. But coming through during the Olympic Games really gave us that boost to move us past those struggles we've been facing in the last couple of years.
Excuse me, Mr. President. Would you like a refill on your coffee?
Yes, I would.
Alrighty then.
Oh, and by the way, are you watching the game tonight?
What game, sir?
Take a seat and I'll tell you about it.
Alrighty then. There you go.
Thank you. Tonight is an Olympic game, Olympic hockey game, and it's going to be especially important.
Oh, well, why is that?
Well, politically speaking, this game is probably going to be the most important one we've ever played. Tonight's match is between us and the Soviets.
Oh, well, that makes sense. There will be a lot of tension with all the Cold War politics.
That's exactly it. The Cold War between us and the Soviets started after the fall of the Nazis. It's been going on for 35 years now, and Americans are beginning to lose hope in the United States. If we could find a way to beat them tonight, it would raise American spirit across the nation.
Very true. I'm surprised that they're even coming to play this year. Are we still going to boycott their Olympic Games later this year?
Yes, we are. However, if we could win this game, maybe we could find a way to go. It would be a great step forward in our relations with the Soviet Union.
Well, I hope we can win tonight.
Me too. Good night.
Would have been amazing to be there watching that game.
A man can only dream. But listening to Al Michaels on TV was good enough for me.
Do you remember how many newscasts and newspaper reports there were, and even the parades through the whole country? They were even given the key to New York City on March 4th by the president. Our whole country was watching.
Nothing ever brings everybody together like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? People now are so interested in them and only themselves. This display of amazing nationalism is uncomparable to any time in history I can remember.
This is such a huge role in boosting our spirits that many people began to take up the sport. Young and old, instead of the bat, they started taking the wooden twig out on the frozen ponds.
And that is how the cookie crumbles. Back to you, Brick, about how hockey in America has grown steadily ever since the Miracle on Ice back in 1980.
Thank you very much, Ron. The 1980 Olympic Games had a huge impact on all Americans, sparking an interest in the game. With this new spark of hockey, people flocked to the ice rink, wanting a shot for themselves, or even their children, to play the game of hockey. Many Americans' first experience or exposure to hockey was watching the U.S. hockey team win the gold medal, and en route beating the untouchable Russians, telecasted to the American public. The excited Americans wanting to play caused the numbers in youth hockey to grow immensely. Some Americans were very talented and eventually developed into great hockey players. This is true because during the 1990s, the amount of National Hockey League players came from America. And in fact, 160 U.S.-born players played in the NHL. Most of them were sparked by the inspirational accomplishments made by the U.S. hockey team, while the NHL was mostly dominated by foreign countries such as Canada, Finland, and Sweden.
Wow, what a spectacular sight to see, Brick. That is just amazing to see how Americans becoming inspired, trying to become professional athletes.
Yes indeed, Ron.
So, one question for you, Brick. How come in 1998 the United States allows professional athletes to compete in the Winter Games rather than the collegiate players?
Great question, Ron. Well, the answer to that is that the United States did not medal since the 1980 Winter Olympic Games, so they fell behind in the race for the medals at the Winter Games. And the only way to compete on a high level is allowing the professional athletes to join the Olympic Games.
Oh, well, that makes sense now. Thank you, Brick. Well, that is all we have for you tonight, folks. You stay classy.